5 wars, 9 bullets, 4 decades of a distinguished military career, which ended with him being anointed India's first field marshal. That's the life in numbers of Sam Hormuzji Framji Jamshedji Manekshaw, also known as Sam Bahadur. This was a soldier who was larger than life. He was dashing, flamboyant, cheeky, unflinchingly brave. He spoke truth to power, consistently putting his foot in his mouth, and he was the personification of loyalty, integrity, fairness, and generosity. As Meghna Gulzar said to Vicky Kaushal when she offered him the film, they don't make men like this anymore. The match of this material with the director of Raazi and the leading man of Uri the Surgical Strike and Sardar Udham is near perfect. As it turns out though, that's not enough. Manekshaw shaped the history of post-independence India. He was a key player in the birth of Bangladesh. His life was crammed with pivotal events, each of which could have constituted its own film, like the 1971 India-Pakistan War or the secession of Kashmir to India. His relationship with Prime Minister Indira Gandhi could have also worked as a two-hander portrait of power. He was both her confidant and her critic. At one point, he tells her, "Aapko sach batana meri duty hai." But this is my favorite moment. In 1971, just before the fighting began, when she asked General, "Are you ready for the war?" Manekshaw replied, "I'm always ready, sweetie." Essentially, there is enough here for many films, or even a long-form series with several seasons. Meghna and her co-writers Bhavani Iyer and Shantanu Srivastava decide to squeeze as much as they can into 150 minutes. The story moves in linear fashion. We start with Sam in the cradle. This lack of curation becomes a fatal error. Sam Bahadur is undoubtedly a labor of love. You can see the detailing and research in the production design by Subrato Chakrabarti and Amit Ray, the costume design by Sachin Lavalekar, Divya Gambhir and Nidhi Gambhir, the makeup design by Shrikant Desai. There is no lack of good intention or hard work or fine actors. Starting, of course, with Vicky Kaushal. The actor's superpower is the ease with which he can inhabit diametrically different characters. Earlier this year, he played a bumbling, ordinary, middle-class, small-town man to great success in Zara Hatke Zara Bachke. It's a sharp contrast to the formidable hero he's playing in this film. There is no vanity in Vicky's performances, he just becomes. As Sam Bahadur, Vicky adopts the physical traits, the light eyes, the peculiar bent-over posture and stance, and that robust speaking style with its dramatic pauses and flourishes. But the illusion remains incomplete. It's all exterior because the writing doesn't allow us to discover the interiority or complexity of this man. There is no arc. The field marshal remains in command from the first frame to the last. We don't see moments of vulnerability or pain or doubt. His relationship with his wife Silu, played by the lovely Sanya Malhotra, isn't given enough room to breathe either. There's this tender scene in which they're both lying in bed and we discover that they sleep in separate bedrooms because he snores too loudly. I wish we had had more like this. Silu died in 2001 and Sam in 2008 at the age of 94. What were those last few years like? On YouTube, you can find a documentary called In War and Peace, The Life of Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw, MC. It's mostly a conversation between him and his grandson. At the end, he's standing alone on the terrace of this beautiful Kunur bungalow. There's this ineffable sense of a life well lived, but also loneliness. Sam Bahadur doesn't go into those emotional spaces, which suggests that Manekshaw is human, perhaps even frail. This insistence on making Sam an unbending superhero bleeds him of his humanity. The screenplay works up to a terrific interval point when Sam first meets a young Indira. Their relationship shapes India's history. Fatima Shaikh is well cast as India's first female Prime Minister, but we don't see enough of the legendary steeliness. This Indira seems a little listless and lost, as does her father. The film portrays Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru as nervous, indecisive. But Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, played by a solid Govind Namdev, gets better treatment. He's a tough realist, willing to take hard calls. Sam Bahadur has some rousing moments, like the way in which the field marshal pushes back against venal politicians. Aided by Ketan Sodha's background score, these add heft to the narrative. But mostly, the screenplay flattens out under the burden of functioning like a highlights reel. It moves from one incident to another without giving us enough context or the time to soak in the enormity and emotion of what has just happened. In Raazi, Meghna showed us what patriotism without shrillness looks like. Sam Bahadur also stays away from vilifying Pakistan, although Mohammad Zishan Ayub playing General Yahya Khan is undone by excessive prosthetic makeup. But there is this lovely sequence set just before independence when one army is divided into two and he delivers a speech on the anguish of having to choose where to belong. There is such heartache and poetry in that moment. Again, I wish there was more of this. Mostly Sam Bahadur labors on without landing its punches. The battle scenes are especially weak and the repeated use of archival footage also pushes us out of the world. A life filled with high drama, including a court-martial for being anti-national, is rendered without enough dramatic tension, which is a shame because this film, like The Man, could have been glorious. You can see Sam Bahadur at a theatre near you.